Brinnell Hardness Testing, Part 2, right now on Pirate Firearms and Reloading. Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. So this is a quick part 2 to Brinnell Hardness and testing for Brinnell Hardness in your lead and lead castings. If you haven't seen part 1 or you're not familiar with the Lee Brinnell Hardness Tester kit, flick back to that other one. It'll be in the description down below and on the playlist as well, and get a bit more context. But if you're familiar with that kit and you want a more accurate way to measure the impression size and therefore your Brinnell hardness, this is the video. So I've always used the little handheld microscope. I've found that putting the bullet in the vise and then standing above it, adding a little bit of extra light to it, has made a big difference. But I was thinking the other day, how can I accurately hold the microscope and keep it in line with my bullet? And I thought about it, why don't I just make a die for it? So I got a little creative. The one that you're seeing actually in the press has a Lee quick change bushing on it, and that's actually my first prototype. What I've come up with is this slightly smaller bolt looking contraption. It is pre-threaded 7/8, just like your press will be, or your quick change bushings. So either just screw it into the press, or if you've got quick change bushing, screw it into one of those. You don't have to screw it all the way down either. This one here currently is a pretty tight fit. This one here is a little bit looser, so you can actually remove the microscope quite easily if you wish to. The other thing is I have put a taper here and at the top, so if you do find it becomes loose over time, you can actually just put an O-ring or a rubber band around the top and use that to hold it in place. Part of the reason they are a little bit lighter is so if you do happen to run the ram up and try and smash it into the end of the microscope, it will just pop itself out of the die and you don't risk damaging that little expensive piece of kit. So what it means, obviously it's going to center the microscope in your press just like the impression die would have been centered, and therefore you should have to only move the bullet a smidgen inside the V-block to align it correct. And I've found this has made a huge difference. I gave one to a mate the other day and he was pretty happy with it too. So if you are in New Zealand, I am going to be selling these on Trade Me. Just the die bushing itself, nothing else. You don't get any quick change bushings, you don't get the microscope, you still have to buy that separately. But that'll be a great little add-on. They're relatively cheap and easy to do. Now, I know many of you are still asking about international shipping. Still working on that. I just can't find a competitive rate to get it shipped to you. I'm going to end up charging you guys more in shipping than the cost of the actual products, which I don't really want to do. It might just be my only choice in the end, but I'm still working on that one in the background. So just hang fire if you are hoping this stuff will be internationally shipped. Hopefully I've got something in the next month or two. So that is my little design. If you wanted to make one of these yourself, you could probably make one out of wood too, for that matter. I know other people have made a little wooden stand as well to do it. Options are endless, but I thought that was a really quick one. You don't need any extra equipment trying to line things up. You just simply screw this die adapter in, put your microscope in it, away you go. For me in my prototype, because it is pretty firm, I'm just going to leave the microscope in there from now on. And obviously I can just do my impression, run it up in there, and then look through the die. Everything will remain stable. The handle of my press is applying a little bit of weight, keeping the bullet in contact with the end of the microscope, and then I can just come in from the sides while I'm looking down the microscope and adjust to align the little scale. I do have one other trick if you want to spend a little bit more money. What I have found is a little USB microscope on Amazon, and I have made myself a little stand and ran the router through it to create a little V-block in the bottom. If you don't have a router, you could just actually cut that with a handsaw, just mark it out and just take your time. And I found this is actually a really cool way of doing it, because the software, or the app, if you like, is in the Microsoft store, so you can plug it into a laptop or a computer. I happen to have one on my reloading bench right up here. You can just see the bottom of the screen. And you can actually either, this one comes with a little scale card so you can calibrate it, or if not, you can put like a rule down there, just make sure you've got a good quality one, and you adjust your scale, and then I'll insert some photos here, you can actually measure the radius of the impression. You can measure across and just do a straight line measurement, but what I find is, depending on where you are, you'll get a slightly different result. So the radius is quite good. It kind of averages everything out. You simply double the radius, that gives you the diameter, and then you can jump over to your Brinnell Hardness scale and see what it turns out to be. So I found that's actually really cool if you want to go the route of using slightly more advanced technology. I think this little USB microscope was like 20 bucks, so doesn't really owe me anything, but you just need one that the software or the app allows you to measure things. That's the critical thing. It's already fine having a little microscope like this, but without a scale, it means nothing. So yeah, you've got the real simple approach of just having a little die, or the slightly more advanced one. I think I'll probably use a combination of both. If I want to be really accurate, the microscope is obviously going to be the way to go. But if I'm just doing some quick rough testing to see where I'm at, pop the little die in the press and you're away laugh. So if you've got any questions about these, sorry guys, I cannot link to things. YouTube gets a little bit funny every time I do. So you just have to jump on Amazon and take a look for that USB microscope. It does come with its own little stand, but I found having a little V in a block of timber meant my alignment was a lot better. And you can actually see I've got a little pencil line here on the bottom as well, so I know roughly where the center is in the microscope. And yeah, like I said, stay tuned for international shipping, or if you are in New Zealand, jump on to Trade Me and grab yourself one. They'll be live by the time this video is. So till next time, don't forget to like and subscribe. Happy shooting.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss out on anything. And if you found this video helpful, please share it with your friends. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments below. Catch you next time.